The Strange Motion Way podcast, brought to you by Royal Purple Synthetic Oils.
Royal Purple premium synthetic motor oils and high-performance chemicals have been designed to improve performance in all conditions and provide cleaner operation, better mileage, and decreased oil change frequency. That means less oil changes. With products available for your gasoline and diesel engines, Royal Purple is the obvious choice for your performance needs. Drive with Royal Purple, the synthetic expert. Welcome to another episode of the Strange Motion Way podcast. I'm your host, Tim Strange, along with
Carrie Strange.
So this is another recap. We've been having all kinds of technical difficulties, so we're doing this one on a Zoom recording.
No, we're not.
Oh, we're not?
No.
Oh, we're trying the one that we're having trouble with.
Yep, supposedly they've got us fixed again, so We'll find out. But it's easier to redo us versus spending somebody else's time and wasting their time. So we do apologize. This is something we are learning, and technology changes every day. So we need to change every day as well, which is not Tim's wheelhouse.
No.
Not
That's
at
why I
all.
don't want to learn all the technology, because you just got to learn it again.
Exactly. They keep changing it.
Yeah.
But our event review websites, podcasts have gone really well. People seem to like them. We're giving you a different view of the events and kind of a backside of the events and our point and our side of the events. This one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to talk a little bit
What are we talking about? I don't even know.
We're going to talk a little bit about Dino's, which we didn't go. But we're going to talk a little bit about the GoodGuys Scottsdale event and recap that. And then I think we're going to end it with Grands. We just came off of BMX Grands. I know there's some people that don't care about that, but we do. So, and it's us. But I will remind Tim, the camera's up there. Nobody wants to see your ear. So
good looking ears.
Look at me in the screen. We have this big screen up here that he can see me in.
It's a sexy ear.
But he likes to look at me. So we will start off with our last one. We recapped SEMA, and we came home from SEMA and got to spend a weekend at home. Yay me, got 15 Christmas trees up. So
and there's an extra one that you took to Grands that's up too. So.
Well, no, that one's included in the 15.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, that one is included in the 15. I took that one on Power Tour last year.
If you're watching this on YouTube, which nobody watches on YouTube, I'm blinking multiple times for help. Help. That's key, right? Blink if you need help, Tim. I'm blinking. Help me.
You're ridiculous.
On Christmas.
So while we stayed home, you worked all weekend. I put up Christmas trees. The rest of the world was in Phoenix, Arizona, and Glendale for Dino's Get Down. Optima had their rig out there. QA1 had their rig out there. Chris and Jackie went out. Everybody that we know was there. A lot of people
went that never been. Johnson's went with their radiators and their hot rods. If you don't know Dino's, is it still all Chevy on the one day?
One day it is
Friday's all Chevy.
Yep. And Saturday.
Trucks.
Correct.
And then Saturday, it's cars. Is it Chevy cars only? Or is there other cars and Mopar trucks and stuff? That's what...
I don't know.
I don't know.
Dino, we need to have you on the podcast.
We do need to have Dino on the podcast. He'd be a great one. He's a cool cat.
He's
a cat. He's a cat lover. So I bet Dino and his wife has been to a cat show. I'm thinking.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
But that event, which they said they had over 7,000 trucks this year, it was crazy. Chris and Jackie from, what is Chris? Sorry. Chris's official name is Chongo's. What is his official name? It's Chongo's. You can look it up on Instagram. Our good friends, Chris and Jackie. They flew out, and Chris sent me a couple pictures because he knew I'd like the chop truck that Chris Coddington bought back from his dad, Boyd built, which I absolutely love that thing. And he says, man, first day, we didn't even get through the vendors. He said, that's how many vendors it is. That show's amazing. I think it's pretty affordable for vendors. Dino does it for fun and a get-together. It's a get-down. And he doesn't do it as a business. So since it's not a money-making, hey, this is how I make my living, what he does is cool.
It's free.
Everybody's free to get in once the vendors are in.
All spectators. So it's really cool that people can take their families, take their kids for a very low dollar amount. I mean, they're going to buy T-shirts, obviously, and they're going to, buy food and merch, and that's kind of the thing. But He doesn't charge an entry fee.
I don't think Dino gets. I mean, he gets a lot of credit for how cool this event is, but what he's doing for the next generation of automotive enthusiasts is, it's a lot of money to take a family of 4 to any of the other shows. I know kids get discounted, but it might cost you $100 to take a family of 4 or 5 to another show. And this is free. The year we went, it's been a few years since we went. There's so many young families, kids in strollers, little kids running around. And that's how Dino's giving back to, hey, let's get this next generation in. And first year we went, it was the first for our good friend. We lost our good friend, Ron Knowles, during COVID time. Almost anniversary coming up because it was right after PRI.
Yep.
And Dino, he was a big truck guy, was starting a wheel company, which his wheels were on the Jake Paul roll-in vehicle, the Crew Cut. I got the information a little wrong. It was restored. It was not originally built by the guys at Gas Monkey, but they did it on the show. And Ron cut a new set of wheels for that when he was still around. So it was pretty cool to see Ron's wheels rolling out on the big stage on Netflix. So we lost Ron, and he was good friends of so many people in the industry. So we decided to do with the Greens. George that works there is the CNC guy and the CAD guy. And Greenings were all good friends with him. So we all got together, and George come up with the cool trophy, and they machined it. We flew out to Dino's and picked it. And it's not, hey, man, you got the coolest truck here. It's more of like a person award doing something cool in the truck world, and somebody either Ron knew and was friends with, or if he wasn't friends with or knew, he would have been. So the first time we did that, handed off the award in the AMD booth, was Brandon and Missy Cisco, doing cool stuff in the truck world, also very good friends with Ron, brought tears to their eyes. And the award is, we don't do it every year, but we're involved in, hey, who you picking? So then Brandon built a trophy, and then they chose Mike Losh of Slosh Tubs. We all agreed, yep, Mike's doing cool stuff in the industry. So then this year he built, along with his woodworking buddy, built an amazing award. It's a Ron Knowles Memorial. He picked, and all of us agreed, Ronnie Wetch of the C10 Talk, which is another one of my influences of us doing this podcast. I was on some of Ronnie's podcasts. I was on the OBS Talk, I guess, with Travis Nowak. And so, of course, he made the award personalized. It had a microphone in the middle, and it had his damn son or whatever. He said, I can't do it like Ronnie does. He's got these little catchphrases, so he put that on there, and it was a lighted acrylic that changes colors. And Mike and the guys that built the trophy really did it. So then next year, the plan is that Ronnie has to build something, and then, hey, I'm thinking about this guy, and we're like, oh yeah, that's cool. So hope this Ron Knowles Memorial Award goes on for many years. Ron's nephew was out there. There was a little bit of confusion on the award when it was going because Ronnie was off recording a podcast, actually, and nobody told him, hey, you got to show up because we're giving an award. Because that's another cool thing. Dino's doesn't do awards. So it's not like, oh, come to the main stage at 3 o'clock. We're handing out trophies. That's not what they do there. So needless to say, they get 7,000 some trucks, and they're not all trophy hunters there because there's no awards. So that's even cooler.
That is cool.
Yeah.
But one of the other sides, and I'm going to say it's the downside of the event, is we all have been to the auto show where you have not necessarily your enthusiasts, but you just have, hey, there's this car event going on today.
Yeah, and
let's
go. And if it's free, you don't have to think twice.
And it's free, so we just go. So I'm not saying, and I'm in the event industry, so I'm not saying a free car show is what needs to happen everywhere. Because if somebody's willing to pay to get in, they're a true enthusiast, which in turn spends money with our vendors, which in turn the vendors are happy because that's why they're there. So there might be a lot of, per se, leads at these events, but they're not necessarily your niche market. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, what do you want? Do you want a lot of foot traffic? That is a waste. I don't want to say a waste of time, but it's a potential for more wasted time than when you're going to your actual
you're
paid entry.
Totally on the business side.
On the business side, 100%. Yeah, you might have had 500 people through your booth, but if nobody buys anything, it doesn't matter. And again, when there's that many vehicles, there's a lot of enthusiasts, so there's a lot of people that are interested, but you have to look at it that way too. When you're looking at it, this traffic is great, but not if it's not bringing leads and making sales.
And we heard that. I left on Friday noon from the SEMA show. We had our SEMA wrap up, but since you've talked to some of our good friends that were there at SEMA with cars on display, and the Friday, it's not free, but the public can come and just buy a ticket. And they said Friday was absolutely hell for them because people thought it was not. You got these high-end, hundreds of thousands, if not more, dollars in these cars, and people just walking up and open the doors and trying to sit in the cars like you can at an auto show.
Right.
So if you're listening and you're one of those people, that's not what you do at the SEMA show. That's not what you do
at any
Dino's.
show.
That's not the new car auto shows. They encourage that because they want you to buy that Chevy Cruze or that new Corvette or whatever it is. But yeah, there should be an IQ test at the door of some of them. But yeah, and you never made it in the building at SEMA. We talked about SEMA, but since I just wanted to bring that up because you kind of brought it up about it's not everybody.
So on to the following weekend, GoodGuys Scottsdale. It's kind of my off weekend. So I go out to see family and visit my dad. In his
the
cemetery. But you get to, it's a really busy weekend for you because you're doing the duel in the, I guess it's
called
Duel
in the Desert and King of the Desert.
King of the Desert, which I don't care. I've said it 25 times. Good guys, we have women in the sport. It's time you step up. Can't be calling them kings anymore.
Oh, come on. Come on, Carrie.
When I come out with my car and you try to call me a king, I am a queen, okay? And I needed to be treated as such.
Well, everybody knows us. You have the balls in the family here anyway, so you're just one of the boys.
That is
just
true.
One of the dudes.
That is true.
It's play on words. Don't be triggered, Carrie.
I'm sorry, but I don't like the name, so I have my personal opinion.
Usually, they've changed this through the years, and they keep changing it and trying to find the perfect way. There used to be a points series, and it was Autocrosser of the Year. And before that, everybody would come for this Duel in the Desert shootout, and that was the Autocrosser of the Year. They got like the toolbox and stuff like that. Well, they got tired of some people just showing up that have not supported their series all year long. This is the business side of it. And then they come, and then all of a sudden they're Autocrosser of the Year that has ran one or two events. But I'm okay with that because at that time, we would take some invites from the Optima Series and SCCA championships, and it was really the cream of the crop. I mean, some of these people that we had did run some good guys. I know your head's twitching over there.
No, it's actually funny. Go ahead.
Because then it was, hey, this is the Autocrosser of the Year because we have SCCA champions and Optima champions and all that. But that's been quite a few years since we've done it that way.
So you're wearing a shirt for the last event we're going to talk about in this podcast, but the Grands. Different sport, same bitch. Because everybody has their opinion of whether you should be able to show up at the Grands. I have raced all of my races all year long. Women 41 to 50 class is off the charts right now with drama because of this situation. I have raced all year long, and somebody else, or how many foreigners there were that have no proficiencies, and they get to come in and race as an intermediate. But that the same, completely different, two sides of the story events. Same bitch. Right?
I didn't know I was really bitching. I was just explaining.
No, I'm just like, I'm not saying that we're bitching. I'm saying that the people are complaining. We hear it on both sides because everybody thinks that because you announce, you have something to say. And
well, I have something to say, but nobody listens to me, and I'm not involved in the rules.
Exactly.
So what they do now is to qualify in for the King of the Desert, which is the afternoon Saturday show, you have to have a minimum of 3 races. Well, they were kind of reaching out to people and say, hey, you're invited. You've got your 3 in. Some people weren't coming from East Coast. It's a long way to haul. Like Ron and Angela, they live in Virginia. It's a long haul. Mm-hmm. Even if you're going to win, which you can't guarantee a win, there's money. One of the only Good Guys shows they give out money. The winner got $2,000 in each class. You're still money in the hole if you're hauling from Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
So some of them East Coasters don't come all the way to Scottsdale now.
They don't do it for the money, Tim. It's the egos.
I know. They do it for fun, and it's not their living. They have real jobs and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, it's a long way to haul. So they didn't have a full field of qualified cars. So I think it's kind of, I'm the announcer, and I don't really pay attention to the rules because sometimes stuff gets changed at the end in good and bad ways. This one, they put a race inside of a race. So a normal Friday, Saturday show, and that shootout was Saturday morning. The duel in the desert. All our shootouts at every place has, the Big Hoss shootout is a Texas shootout. Every Des Moines, Columbus, they all have a name. So the duel in the desert that's normal shootout. So you got another race in. If you only had 2, here's your third race, and points still for the championships. And the points were really close. And it come down to 2 classes, the shootouts and who won the shootouts and who got in the final rounds for the points. So it was very exciting for that. And then in the afternoon on Saturday, we ran time trial runs for everybody that was qualified that had 3 or more for the King of the Desert. And then we did 5 class shootouts. We did 5 in the morning, Pro X, Pro, Street Machine Truck, Sports Car. We didn't do it. Yeah, we didn't do a Challenger class, which is for the beginners. And so it was exciting. One year I tried doing it by myself, and I couldn't talk on Sunday. So for the last, 8 years, I've been doing it with me and Jeff Thisted do it. And it works great because he does more of the West Coast. I do more of the East Coast. We do Scottsdale and Columbus together. So a lot of these West Coasters and Colorado type people, I don't see but once a year. He knows what to talk about, and I see some of the people from the East Coast that he doesn't. I mean, this year he did Raleigh. So it works great. We just hand off the announcing. We do a round of rotation and switch, and then jump in and help with the cards. And me and Jeff work really good together. We got a system, and it works.
So you don't really have a king. You have multiple kings.
You have 5 kings.
That's the part that I miss, and I don't like. And I get the reasoning, and I get where it's at. But to me, it gets a little bit confusing when you have multiple shootouts because it's just another race. I mean, it was exciting, but if you're in the know and you're following it, it's exciting.
Yeah, I said that during the drivers' meeting that, are we not doing one? All the kings should do one. The winner of each one of those 5 classes should do a round, an elimination too. Well, yeah, if nobody hits cones or doesn't roll through the stop box, you're not going to beat a Pro X car usually.
But they do that.
When your Josh rolled through the stops during the finals.
They choke too. Everybody does.
And cones get hit. That's why the cones are there, and they add 2 seconds to the time. And then you would have an overall champion. The same thing when I do UMI King of them. I do Muscle on the Mountain the last 2 years. And I thought we did the same thing, class winners, and then a shootout. And they're like, no, we don't do that here.
Well, okay, so if anybody's listening,
they do that at King of the Mountains.
We think it's a good idea to do a shootout, an overall shootout.
Yeah, then Josh, he was one of the fastest on the grounds. He's like, well, then you got to do the packs and do the math. And hey, no, you don't, because cones are still 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Just go out there and win.
So this is what we got there at Scottsdale was Robbie Unser, Speedway Motors, is an amazing driver, 9-time Pikes Peak champion. Drives for Speedway, 2-time Indy 500. Yep, that Unser family. He only did Indy 500 twice in the IRL years. Finished 2 top 10s, a 5th and an 8th. That's impressive numbers. 2 Indy 500s, the only time he ever tried. And he, other race series, and he's been Autocrosser of the Year and points champion and GoodGuys. And they kind of haven't been coming because up until like mid-season this year, we weren't allowing ride-alongs because insurance reasons and wrecks, but people didn't have waivers signed and wristbands in the passenger seat. So it's a big deal. So all these companies are there to sell parts, and they want to give ride-alongs. And if somebody has bought their stuff, they want to ride with that person, give them a little coaching. Oh, okay, click, click, click. Here's a couple clicks on your shocks. Now try it. It's good business for these people. That's why we have sponsors. Well, okay, again, I don't do the rules, but I like ride-alongs. Not everybody does. You don't have to do them. But it brings in that other element. And we're here, they're all there. Companies are sponsoring because they want to make money and sell parts. So Speedway hasn't been coming too many. They did Des Moines because they sponsor that one, and they showed up here. So Robbie Unser and Brian Martin were there and racing fast in their classes. Robbie, in the Cobra they've been working on, it's got an IndyCar wing on the back. It's got like all the possible wing. It's all the wing you could have.
I think it was the wing off of our airplane.
No, it was real. It's seriously a IndyCar. I forget which. Not a Dallara. I forget, but like an IndyCar wing from IRL years, I believe. And they added bigger side spill plates on it.
Crazy.
And it's a twin turbo LS in a fiberglass Cobra.
I think it was off our plane.
And it was 3/4 of a second quicker than anybody else's car in any class on Saturday morning. But since he didn't have the 3 races, he was not in the king of the desert shootout Saturday afternoon. So we didn't get to have that big
mail order versus mail order shootout.
Yeah, I would say the battle of mail orders, like back in the Top Fuel era with Dixon and Schumacher. It was the battle of the beer wagons, and so we didn't have the king shootout with the 2 fastest cars on the grounds
in the afternoon. But you had it in the morning, and who took that win?
I don't remember.
Robbie did.
Yeah, Robbie did. But the second fastest car was actually not Josh. It was the Street Machine class, another Lee Singer car, Summit car, with Chenoweth behind the wheel. Man, they got that vet is, they got that thing figured out. And there was a lot less technology in it. It's a stripped down race car. They were fighting a lot of technology. Actually changed main ECUs in Josh Lee Singer's car. Because why? Because race car, you're going to have problems with them. That's just it.
Well, it's not hashtag street car, good guys?
No, that's your guys's. I think you copyrighted that. But yeah, it was good. And then Sunday, we actually had a pretty decent Sunday. So on Saturday, Rob McGregor won the truck points.
Which that was actually pretty exciting because he
broke. He was the fastest in the truck, so he got some points for the time trial win. Could not run in the shootout, but David Carroll had to win the shootout. David Carroll got beat in the finals. He got second place. Rob McGregor, No Limit Engineering, had enough points to win the truck championship, which is exciting. Mm-hmm. Sports car came down to the finals again, right?
Who was it? Sports car.
Tim Moulton hit a cone. He needed to win the final shootout to beat Valerie Pichette. He coned out, beat himself. Valerie, back-to-back sports car class champion.
Yep.
Pro X was Josh Lee Singer.
Woman.
I'm blank on who was pro points champion. Was it Chenoweth? Or was it Moulton? No. I just said that was sports car. Man, I don't know on that one.
It's been a couple weeks, so
yeah,
we might have forgotten. But you can go to GoodGuys.
But then Sunday is All-American Sunday, 2000 and newer. Next year, 2000s will be able to come Friday, Saturday. I've heard rumors that they're going to stop doing that 1-year roll, just stop it at 2000. But back-to-back All-American Sunday for the newer cars. Gunnison Jones out of Colorado in the QA1 equipped vet. That thing is fast. That's one of the only 2 Sunday cars that come for the later models that get anywhere in the same time zone as the fastest car on Saturday. And he was he wasn't in the same second time zone as Unser, but he was in the same with a passenger. And it don't count if you give a passenger, but the weight helps that vet. And he ran in the same 25-second zone as everybody else.
Your time doesn't count with a passenger?
No, that's how we get by because of the insurance. They don't want you to give it 110% if you have a passenger. You got to be over 18. You got to sign a waiver, get a wristband, got to wear a helmet. And
then the time don't count. So a lot of the drivers may not want to do ride-alongs.
Yeah, because they're throwaway run.
Time. Yeah. Okay. Didn't know that.
So another cool thing at GoodGuys Scottsdale is the Terrific 12, they call them, for the season. Muscle Machine of the Year, Street Machine of the Year, Street Rod of the Year, Custom Rod of the Year, all of those Truck of the Years, 2 Truck of the Years, Custom of the Year, they all get there. GoodGuys helps them. They put them up in a really nice hotel. They get to sit out in front of the main tent. They get their Snap-on toolbox that's got a color picture of a John Jackson picture they shot. I think they're all John Jackson pictures. I could be wrong. Some of them could be Damon Lee's or Terry's. And then they get the toolbox. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And I always talk to them. Does the builder get it? Does the owner get it? And some of them are vice versa. But this year they had hero cards like you get at the drag strips, like baseball-sized cards and stickers. So, of course, Damon's like, hey, something else you got to collect. I went and got the little, I didn't get all the hero cards. I got the baseball card type thing with all the info on the back. That was pretty cool. And then this year, for the first time, the Trendsetter was invited to have a car on display, and they got the toolbox, which I'm a little jealous. Tyler Nelson got a toolbox. None of the other, including me, past Trendsetters got the toolbox. And then he got the hero card and all that. So it's really cool. So that's kind of why they let the Trendsetter know ahead of time this year. Make sure he was at the banquet at the SEMA show and give him time to prepare to get a car to Scottsdale. I think that's really cool. I really like that they do that and they get to pick one of their cars. So again, the Trendsetter is not for that personal car. It's like their career up to this point, and usually young-ish builder in the industry that they think is going to do good stuff. So I've got it with me and you got it. Our Trendsetter sitting back here. Alan Johnson, Foose, Troy Trepanier, Eric Pratt, Greening, Troy Gudgel, the Roadster Shop boys, all of them are in the club for over almost 25 years. They've been doing, because it's been 22 and we were the 5th. So 27 years they've been doing the good guy. Look at me doing math. I might have got it wrong.
Zane was in there.
Zane Collin.
So it was a really good event at Scottsdale, and the fall Scottsdale is like a color book. Saturday is the day. Friday and Sunday, throw them in the trash.
Friday was pretty good.
Friday's okay, not for spectators. It was okay for cars, but spectators is just not a great day.
But this year,
but Sunday was not a great
10th,
day.
Since Barrett did an earlier event, they killed the Vegas event and moved that to Scottsdale. Then their big one comes up in the end of January. So they have left tents up. Mm-hmm. Not down on the polo field where the grass is.
Changed a lot.
Yeah, because some of our specialty parking's usually up on the hill. They had to move them down. But, man, I think it really worked good because they had Builder's Choice down in between the vendors, other specialty parks. So it got – some people stay up on the hill with the tent, the autocross, and the Terrific 12, and the Builder's Choice. They don't come down. If you've never been to Scottsdale, there's a lower level, which is the grass polo fields, and then some asphalt, and then the swap meets behind it. One of the best swap meets on the Good Guys circuit. I'm not saying some stuff is viable. There's some high prices out there.
He said there's good stuff.
Viable, is that a word? But yeah, it's one of the best swap meets. The car corral just keeps getting bigger and bigger. When we used to go to Charlotte, that was a really good swap meet. Good Guys don't go there anymore. But yeah, excellent swap meet. I always go on Thursday, set up to skim through, then get there super early on Friday to go back through. And I never made it back out there the rest of the weekend.
But every vendor that I talked to, Saturday was phenomenal. I did go on Saturday. I didn't go on Friday, and I didn't show up till noon on Sunday. But on Saturday, I was there most of the day. And every time I would look out over the field, it was packed in that vendor midway. And there has been years before, and I've talked to Sadie about it multiple times, but there's been years that it's ghost town out there. Yeah. Nobody wants to walk down the hill. So I think it was great having that out there. A lot of the vendors that I spoke to said the same thing and had a phenomenal Saturday. Hot Rods by Dean was one of them. He was just over the moon. Yeah. Saturday was an amazing day. And Dean does
spring and fall every year.
But one of the super cool things that I got a message on Facebook on Friday, and a gentleman wanted to know if we were at the event.
Oh, yeah.
Because our 51 Ford Vicky that we built many, many moons ago, 22 years ago, it was there. So we got to see that. That was cool. Tim got to meet him and go over the car on Friday.
And then the craziest thing, driving in, the traffic was crazy. Yeah. I know what happened, but got to have worker people. Some of the worker people showed up late. The event, the Pro-M people. So the gate got opened a half hour late, and they were backed up to the freeway. If you've never been to Scottsdale, that's like 5 miles, backed up to the interstate. State police called, said you got to get people off the road. In Nashville, at the NASCAR track area, Homeland Security, you found out this year, gets involved when you're backed out on the freeway. And so Scott Watson told me the numbers. They don't publicly put the numbers out, but I think Saturday was almost a record attended day for Fall Scottsdale, which is excellent. They set a couple records attendance this year, a couple other events. So yeah, the car show stuff is good. And shout out to Scott Watson.
What you were going on, the reason you started talking about it is because what happened on Saturday morning when you were driving in.
That with all these people getting in, I've seen the Vicky coming from the trailer parking, and he merges in right behind me. So I'm taking pictures out the window of my shoulder and seeing that. And then Carrie went down and took a video of it.
Well, wait. First of all, Carrie went down, and again,
couldn't find it.
Tim said that the polo field was full. It was flipping full. I walked from one end through the middle of it all the way to the other end, looking both ways, thinking this thing is going to jump out at me. I finally gave up. I came back because, I don't know, they're going to do something right after lunch. I'm like, I got to get back up there. I go back, I see Tim, and I'm like, I couldn't find it. I don't think he's here. He's like, it's in the second row.
Yeah, like right of course go to the food vendor and turn left, and he's right there.
So, yeah, so I walked over, got some video of it, talked to him.
And it's in a good home. It makes you feel good when you see a car that we built 22 years ago. That was a car we had at SEMA in 2002.
When we got the Trendsetter.
When we got the Trendsetter. It was in the Hot Rod Banquet. He's psyched. He loved this car so much from the beginning that he has another orange and black Vicky hardtop shoebox that's all orange with a black roof that he bought at a Barrett or a Mecum or something. And he's got other cars. And he's seen that, last time we posted about this on social media, we found out that it ended up, when we sold it years ago, 2003, we delivered it to a guy in Ohio. It was with him for a while. Then it went to another guy in Ohio. Then it disappeared for a while. Mm-hmm. And then went through, I don't know if it went through Mecum, Florida. Then sometimes they get into those, it goes into a collection or a broker guy. Well, then all of a sudden we found out that it's in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And we went and visited, I don't know.
A couple of
years ago. It was in the Sanderson Ford collection, and they have a nice collection of cars, and they rotate them onto their new car show or big dealership chain in the Phoenix area. And the guy that worked there, got to be friends with him. He's like, hey, this is one of the 5 I think we're going to freshen out. Flush out. We've had them for a while. We like to keep the collection close. I'll keep you posted. Well, then he's like, okay, it's going to Barrett Jackson the next whatever. He messaged me. And it went like on a Wednesday or something. It's sold pretty affordable because Wednesday prices, the big money's not in town. And a guy bought it. Not this guy. He wasn't signed up to be a bidder. He was just there looking at cars. And so he's seen it go through fairly affordable. He put his card in the window, said, hey, if you want to sell this car, let me know. So they called him a week or two after. It was a broker person that bought it and thought, it sold pretty affordable. We can put it in our showroom. We can probably make money on it. And so that guy got it, and he is just tickled. He is so happy to have that car in his collection. And it looks pretty much the same as it did. The guy that bought it all those years ago, 21 years ago, he changed the seats. They poked a hole in the seats. They put real leather on the seats. Door panels are the same. The strange motion badges are on it. The first week or first month he had it, he had the wheels polished, took off the flat black centers, which this guy thinks he's going to put the black back on it. And I think the air cleaner, big sheet metal thing, has been painted because they scratched it or something, just because the graphics slightly different. But it still looks the same. It's pretty cool. Good. And this guy's going to put the black on it. And but yeah.
It was in like a little Phoenix newspaper, automotive newspaper thing, a little story on it.
Yeah, a little half-page thing that they were giving away at registration.
Yeah, I did give him a hard time because he did say that it was not his favorite car in his collection. But since then, he has admitted to me that it is his favorite car in his collection. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so you got a video, and you're going to put some up on the YouTube channel.
Yep. Of
it, and she did a walk around, and the guy wouldn't talk.
He didn't want to do an interview, but
that was
cool. It was great meeting, great guy, awesome. Super excited.
So Scott Watson, this is his first year. He replaced Harry Davies.
You can't replace Harry.
No,
he just stepped into Harry's big shoes.
Yeah, Harry decided to get off the road, tired of traveling, wanted to be with his family some more. So Harry's actually this year was his first year. Harry'd be a good one to get on here and interview. That'd be a good one. And he works at Pleasanton Fairgrounds. I think he's the manager or something, head of events or something there. So Scott Watson, this was his first year. Everybody was kind of shuffling at the beginning of the season, trying to find their happy spot. Job titles and responsibilities got flustered around. And by the end, the last few events that I went to, everything was running really smooth. And I think Scott did a great job. I think Bunker did a great job with the awards. He's kind of the head of the awards organization in the parking areas. And same thing, had deer in the headlights look at a couple places, especially Columbus, with all the parking areas and all the big shows. But everybody did a really good job. I say people have no idea behind the scenes what it takes to put on these crazy events of anything that I'm involved in and you're involved in. It's insane.
Yep.
So that pretty much wraps up. That was the last show for Good Guys. Usually they don't talk to me until February to see if I want to announce, but they had meetings, and it looks
Tim
like
got pulled into the office.
I thought I was in trouble. I thought I was getting fired.
But it was funny because I wish Sue and John would have been there because I went over before you went back. And because it was Sunday, and I had just got there, I walked over and I said, "I need to get Tim's stuff." And they're all like, "What?"
Because I have a flannel, I got my backpack with my snacks.
Tim got escorted off the property,
and they believed it, didn't they? They really believed it.
Yeah, they did. It was good.
And
I mean, because we all know that it could happen.
It could happen at any time.
It could happen.
But
okay, so one of the weirdest
let me finish that. They talked to me and Jeff. Hey, get your schedule together. So it looks like me and Jeff Thisted will be back on the mic, spreading out the season for Good Guys next year. I get tired of traveling by the end of the year, but I really enjoy doing that, and I get paid to go to car shows, so it's like having a second job. Yes, I'm still bidding hot rods full-time, 14 hours a day in the shop, and I leave an event. I'm usually back in the shop Friday morning or Monday morning.
One of the weirdest things of this event is it's always the weekend before Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So it's always crazy travel. Like, I always question myself of whether or not I want to go because I don't know if I want to deal with that, but it's the one time of the year I get to go visit the cemetery and see my family, and so I suck it up for it. So we normally fly out on early Thursday morning and fly back late on
you have
Sunday
family
night.
Out there. Go see your niece.
But this year, I don't know what it was, but there was 40 people on our flight to Phoenix.
Everybody got their own row.
Yeah, everybody had their own row. On the way home, like it's normally, we get to the airport, we sit around for a couple hours, there's no place to sit. It's chaos. It was not. It was like, where do you want to sit? The airport
was like half full.
It was like it was crazy. Our plane again, there was 90 people on the plane. Again, we had our own rows. It was like creepy weird. So I don't know if anybody experienced anything different over the Thanksgiving holiday of travel, but I'm just saying that was weird.
Yeah.
That was weird. So on
and next year, some events of Good Guys they're not doing Sundays. They're going to do Friday, Saturday.
Right?
Well, they had some Pleasanton ones. Mm-hmm. They're all Americans that are like that.
Yeah.
Dover is going to be a 2-day. Spring, Texas, again with the Pate swap meet. So I'm going to fly down a day early, go to the swap meet. I'm not driving this year just to buy Hot Wheels because I'll buy something now. I'll buy a bumper or something, but Goolsby said he could haul it part of the way home for me.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah. He might have forgot that, but
we'll remind him.
Yeah. And there was another one there that was a 2-day event. I forget that one.
Anyway.
But yeah, Sundays they just die off on Sunday no matter where you're at. The only one that's really good on Sunday, I mean, all the award winners stay, is Des Moines, depending on where the 4th of July falls. Mm-hmm. The Sunday can be pretty good there.
Yep.
So yeah, that was the end of the Good Guys season.
Awesome.
And then we were home for a couple days.
We actually got to spend more days home because the next event we go to every year, we spend our Thanksgiving holiday in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the USA BMX Grand Nationals.
That's what's on my shirt.
I didn't race this year. First time in forever.
Because you're healed, but you just haven't been on the bike, so you didn't want the Grands to be your first time back.
Yeah. It was hard. It sucked. I'll never do it again. I will always be on my bike. But
since you didn't have to do practice, so let's try to explain BMX Grands to Dave Leesinger. One, he could not believe that I ride a 20-inch bike.
Deer in the headlights.
And he goes, "There's more of you?" And I'm not the smallest, but I'm not the biggest guy out there. And I race 20-inch, 51 to 55 intermediate, and there's novice and expert. I was expert when I was younger. I race intermediate now. Expert are for super fast guys that train, guys that run gyms. allegedly guys that might be on steroids to try to win a trophy. Allegedly. They race the cruiser class. I'm more comfortable on my cruiser, which is a 24-inch wheeled bike, but it's the same thing. It's an expert class, X-Pro. So I race intermediates, and I had quarters. There was 40-some riders, I think, in my intermediate 51 to 55 20-inch class. So there's just as many novice and then as many, or if not more, experts. So that's a lot of old guys on 20-inch bikes. The last age cut for 20-inch is 56 and over. The last age cut on the bigger bike is 60 and over, right?
Mm-hmm. But it's in Tulsa at the Expo Center where they run the Chili Bowl. So all day, I mean, they're building this track for a couple weeks.
A week, I think.
Yeah. All day on Tuesday is Monday, Tuesday, vendor move in, pit move in. There are pits.
Wednesday. Oh, no, move Tuesday. In is Tuesday. Yeah, sorry.
There are pits from one end to the other. It's crazy.
They sell out in like 24 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy. But all day Wednesday now is practice day. So it starts at 7 a.m. And Tim is the last practice on Wednesday. His practice.
At 10:20 at night. That's way past my bedtime. Yeah.
Yeah. So the good part with me not practicing, because my practice would have been at 7:20 a.m., is that we got to drive on Wednesday. But we got there, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Tim got to take a nap before his practice.
I didn't really nap, but I chilled on the couch.
We chilled. And I tell you, it was hard staying awake. But yeah, then we went back and the old guys had their practice on Wednesday night. And then...
And it's done at 11. So you get 35, we get...
40 minutes?
40 minutes of practice. And it's 45 and over. 20-inch. Is it or 40?
41 or, I don't know, 46.
But there's so many in that practice. I got 3 laps of practice. That's all you get. One year I got 4. I could have got 4, but I was tired. This track was like 1,250 foot long. I haven't rode since Carrie's accident in May, but I wanted to ride Grands just say, hey, I'm 53 and I rode my bicycle at the Grands again. Still pretending I'm 12. It was way long. I was dead at the 3rd straight. Then the next 2 days, Thanksgiving, they race all day.
Thanksgiving is the race day.
Thursday and Friday is the Race of Champions, the Rock, they call it. You have to be in your top 10 of your state ranking. We only did 1 state race. Then she got hurt, so we didn't qualify for the Rock. We haven't in many years. So we you just stayed at the house all day.
I never left the house. I never got dressed.
Lily Campbell.
I didn't even shower.
Imagine that. Your boyfriend, Nick, stay there. And Big Shane, Boyzine come down from the Quad Cities.
Shane and Nick got to race. Nick got to race in Open because he's a foreigner.
He's a Norwegian.
So he can race in the Open, but he couldn't race in class. And then Shane was in class, and he made it out. They ran two rounds on Thursday, and Big Shane made it out legitly by beating somebody.
Yep.
So that was super cool.
So then they start Friday for the Race of Champions.
And back on Thursday, we made, we had an Airbnb, so we make Thanksgiving. A lot of people, they cook in the pits. We used to do that. When we had a bigger team, it's really crazy. Like, people are making turkeys in the parking lot, in the pits, and there's like food everywhere with crock pots. And Tim and I were walking around the pits because it was really funny. Several years ago, probably 12 or 13 years ago, we had a pit, and Steve Mank brought a refrigerator in so we could put our leftovers in it. And everybody's like, oh my God, you guys brought in a refrigerator? There was a refrigerator in, I think,
like half the
every pit this year as we were walking around. We're like, remember that time when they thought we were crazy because we brought a refrigerator to our pit?
We still could be crazy. But...
Yeah. Trendsetter. But anyway, so that was super cool. And then on Friday, we took a little detour.
Went out and seen
Friday morning.
Custom Car Legend and our very good buddy, Daryl Starbird. Got out there. He's in assisted living, and then he gets out almost every day. Somebody takes him out to the house property in the museum building. He got stuff going on out there, a lot of cool stuff. Clean in.
So we got to have lunch with him. That was good.
It's as a normal Daryl fashion.
Yep.
Well, we want to go. We drive. He's in Grove, and we wanted to drive. It's about a half hour to Veneta.
But in his defense, there was a lot of stuff that was closed those 3 days. that normally isn't closed. There's a lot of places in Tulsa even that was closed on Saturday.
One of our favorite places, Old School Restaurant on Route 66 in Veneta. We drive all the way over there, and it's closed.
Yep. So
we end up driving around for over an hour. This is not the first time we've done this with Daryl. One time we got there too late on a Sunday and everything was closed. But it's a lake community. You should open a restaurant out there, man, that stays open.
There's nothing there.
And we ended up in a small town, in a little cafe, and had lunch. And, of course, Daryl didn't like his catfish.
Ours was great.
And went and hung out the house and the museum for a little bit. Took him back.
Yep. And then we had to drive back and get our traditional Casey's Taco Pizza on the way back. And then got to go back. And then on Friday night, they do the Pro Spectacular.
So clear out the venue.
Clear everybody out. You got to buy tickets.
$20 ticket now. And that place was full.
Yeah, it was packed.
People will pay to watch BMX. We put on a good show. And they do side hacks, Nag 5 Challenge. What is it? 14 up to 30? Mm-hmm. If you're in your top 5 of your national age group points, you get to run this race. And they didn't put a lot of excitement into it. It was like a filler because the pros finish. They have raced all day and done.
Well, they race through their quarters and then semis, and then they run 3 mains for the pros that day.
The only race on the USA BMX circuit that they run 3 mains, and it's exciting. It's really exciting. Well, the elite men lost a little bit of the excitement because earlier in the day, went out in quarters. Isaac Kennedy, chase rider, he was in title hunt. They had to win the main. He didn't make it out of his quarters. Mm-hmm. Missed it at the line by an inch. And then at the semis, there was Cam Larson, American, Cam Wood up for the title. Cam Larson didn't make it out of his semi. Mm-hmm. So it was, I don't know if Cam Wood had to win to get the title because Larson was leading the points, but I think it's 1.5 points. But there was no denying Cam Wood was prepared. He never lost a lap on the Friday night show. Joris Daudet, everybody thought would retire. French rider, 6-time USA Olympian or USA points champion, and the most recent gold medalist, Olympics. And I don't know how many world championships and World Cup wins, but he is the GOAT. He's won more than even Mara Stromberg's, and everybody thought he was going to be done. So a couple of weeks ago on social media, he's like, I think I'm going to dust the bike off and show up at the Grands. Mm-hmm. He ends up getting second on the night.
Yeah. So
it was really cool. I actually got an autograph because we just never thought we'd see him sitting right over there, all the chase riders. The women, we know a lot of these. We know a lot of the elites. Our buddy Corbin Straw didn't make it into the Friday night show. He's got a new bike company, not riding for his old frame company that he'd been with for 12 years. Divine Cycles, good buddy Corbin. Check it out. Divine Cycles, cycles on Instagram. Got a new page, starting his own bike company. That's pretty cool. He's pretty excited about it. Mm-hmm. So I've seen the CAD drawing. It's pretty cool frame.
Back to the girls.
So the girls, it was pretty much an Elise show because she was capped on wins. Mm-hmm. During the Rock, they run a point series race. Molly Simpson from Canada replaced a score. She had a shot at the title. Mathematically, if Elise didn't make the mains, and
so we all know Tim is not real good at math. So
right, and you listen to a podcast on the way down about it, the Coffee Chatter guys, and I was napping through it, so I didn't. But Peyton Ridenour had a shot, Delaney Vaughn, and Molly Simpson. But for any of them to happen, Elise couldn't make the main.
Yeah, which we knew that was going to happen. Elise is on.
You just bet on Elise that's going to be in the main.
Yep.
And Lauren Reynolds is going to be in the main and podium. The first lap was exciting. So Molly won the Rock the day before. Mm-hmm. I think Elise got second. Elise is smart. Mm-hmm. She just did what she had to because Molly's going to replace the score. She didn't want to hurt herself and not be into the Friday night show for the ending. So the first lap, Delaney won the first lap, I think, with Elise behind, or did Elise pass her at the end?
Elise won the first 2, and then Delaney killed the third one.
Oh, the third one. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was cool. But Elise won her 12th pro women's title. Again, 12 pro titles for an athlete. That's like John. That's old? Yeah, she's 32 or 33. Yeah. And of course, Lauren Reynolds, the same age. She got on the podium. That's like John Force numbers. Mm-hmm. 32. 12 championships. Force has 15, but I don't care what you do. I don't care if it's Little League and your team has won 12 titles. It's crazy.
Another level.
And her, not to be, I mean, usually the prime of BMXers are 25 to 28, round in there. Her and Lauren Reynolds, I believe, are the oldest ones, at least in the mains, in their young 30s, women.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how good. I mean, man.
Yep.
But it was exciting. So Elise got the title.
And then Vet Pro.
Molly got second. Delaney got third. Peyton Ridenour got fourth. So Delaney's going to be on our podcast this winter. Peyton Ridenour is going to be on our podcast. Corbin Sherrill's coming up. I think we're going to probably get Barry. Barry's on a whole bunch of BMX podcasts, though. But Vet Pro was good. I think Barry had all wins. Upshaw could replace a win. Upshaw beat him round one, and then Barry won the next two for his third Vet Pro title. And then also during the breaks of the Friday night show, they do Bike of the Year, Team of the Year, Rookie Pro, and Pro of the Year, which is voted on by USA BMXers. And
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row, and his third overall Pro of the Year went to Barry Nobles. In the last 4 years, it's all been Vet Pros because Nick Long won it the 1 year. It was great seeing Nick Long and his baby there this weekend. We had a bunch of health problems. Had to airlift their baby. She's 1 year old now, right? I think she's right around one. This is the happiest baby as can be. One of the coolest things we've seen, we like to go down after the Friday night show and watch them They do a whole award ceremony, not only for the racers of that race, but the overall points. Nick Long does this duffel bag dash where he raises money and pros donate jersey. And the overall winner, he pays the top three of the pros. They got an extra $2,000 for winning or something like that, or $3,000. Raised almost $30,000 for people buying the jerseys and donating money, and he breaks it up, and then he gives $1,000 for the amateurs too, for each win. So Nick Long does great stuff for the industry. He goes around, makes his living off of it as a Vet Pro, running flat pedals, and does clinics all over, kind of like Barry does. But if you got a BMX track, reach out to Nick Long on social media, get him to come by your track and put on a clinic. Your kids will not.
But what was the best thing that we've seen that night?
During the Vet Pro overall title, they got the top three on there. And of course, the Vet Pros, they're, what are they? 33, 35 and up, 33, 30 and
30s.
up. I know at least, 30 and up Vet Pro men. So a lot of these guys have families, and some of them have other jobs, and some of them are trainers for a living. Or Barry runs huge social media. That's what gets Barry the Golden Crank Award.
Well, Barry gets it himself because he's awesome.
He's awesome. Media such a personality. Great. His parents are awesome. His dad never comes. His dad doesn't love him as much as his mom. His parents are super rad. His wife's super rad. Willow's his little daughter. And then I don't know Upshaw's little daughter, but they're like the same age. And they're standing down in front of the stage while their dads are getting checks, and these little girls, go daddy, go daddy. These two little girls jumping up and down. It was cool. It was cool to see that.
So then on into Saturday of the actual Grands starts then on Saturday. There was 887 motos.
Almost 900 motos.
Wow. That's a long day.
And they run 2 rounds that day.
On Saturday.
And they got done at 8 o'clock at night.
7:30, 8 o'clock, yeah.
It's great. The track, 1,250 feet long. There's pretty much 3 groups. They drop a gate. They go down. As they're leaving the second corner, they drop another gate. And same thing. So the first gate, they're just starting to cross the finish line when that third gate's dropping. So there's one start and one finish and one halfway around. If you're not hurt, they drag your ass off and get you out of there. If you're hurt, they'll stop dropping the gate. The track I thought it was great. I heard bad mix during practice. You don't know because you weren't even on there. But early in the practice, then it gets back to it was great. It's still crazy they build this track in a week.
It's still the same track for everybody.
Yeah, but it was long this year with that long dog leg.
Yeah.
So they run 2 motos. They didn't used to because they wanted people to stay and more hotels and more restaurants and all that stuff.
But they bring us all.
They used to do the pro show used to be Saturday night too.
But with practice on Wednesday, it just makes up for that. A lot of people are going to stay anyway because they don't know if they're going to transfer out. If they do, they got to have their hotel room. And
so I raced
Saturday. What was super cool? Tim had talked to Eric Grindle and got Big Shane on the mic.
Shane Boisine, the East Moline announcer.
Second round. That was awesome. That was like a dream of his to be able to announce at the Grands. So still making dreams come true for our little kids on our team.
And he was psyched. That's one of his bucket lists to be able to announce at the Grands. Too. And he used to do a lot of NBL. I mean, he does the USA BMX, the local East Moline, and the 2 indoor tracks up there. He's great. He used to do a lot of NBL stuff and state stuff with Adam Berkeley. And he never even got to do NBL Grands. He'd done regionals and smaller nationals a little bit, but not a Grands. And then he got to do Saturday morning, most of round 2 of novice.
Well, it was like Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it would have been by then.
Yeah.
But I raced. Just didn't try too hard my first lap. The guys were just gone. The first 2 guys were they checked out. They take 2 guys each round out to qualify into. We had quarters. Second round, I got out of the gate pretty good.
You did. I think you were.
Nick says I could have almost been the lead coming out of. I was not paying attention to the guy in first. I was just thinking second place is what I need to do. Trying to protect the line behind me. I could have probably rode a little higher in turn 1. That's what Nick keeps telling me, Lily's boyfriend. And I could have took over the lead.
But what did Dan Hurley tell you to do?
Dan Hurley says, man, everybody's so tired. At the end of the third straight, they had a boop, 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 really quick, like a huck-a-buck little, if you're not manual, and really close rhythm. And a lot of the guys with not a lot of skill like me kind of bump through there. But he goes, just when you come around that after that third straight, hug the line on the right during that short shoot, and then the last corner, he says, because nobody has enough energy, they got to work harder to go around the outside. Well, I was so tired. My legs were about done. I tried harder than I did that all weekend. And I got too wide to the left, and the guy behind me got up beside me. I had not enough energy to keep going. If I would have just did the Dan Hurley line and stay on that white line, that guy probably wouldn't have got around me, or he had to high-low me in the last corner. But
you had to work harder by being on the outside of the track. It's what we call you left the door open.
I left the door open. 3 people could have got on the inside line and be there. Yeah. And so Lily just chewed my butt about the worst corner she's ever seen. And I just took it from her because she used to be really bad with corners. So I just sat there at the house that night and she just chewed me out. It was the worst corner she's seen.
And she wasn't wrong.
Yeah. But I didn't. So I was done Saturday night. All done. But, hey, I stayed clean. I kept rubber side down, made it through.
Nobody got hurt. So going into Sunday is when they have all their qualifiers. So they have 16th, 8th, quarters, semis, and mains. And Lily made it to the mains on both of her bikes. Hurrah. She did really good. She was racing in a new class this year because she aged up 2 weeks ago, turning 21. Which is what sucks about having a October, November birthday, is you don't normally, when you age up, your points are going towards the class ahead of you, but you have to race all year with the class below you. So that stinks, but
she went into the Grands in 14th, I think.
Yeah.
So she gets a nag number because they nag national age group. You run a gray backplate, the top 20 in 20-inch class. So I know making her main, she jumped up. The points aren't up. If you stay, they'll give you your points and your number plates and that. I don't think she stayed. But she probably jumped up a couple.
She ended up 4th in both open. And 21 and over open, mixed open, which is guys and girls. So that was good. She did awesome there. And then she did 21 to 30 expert women. Nick got 4th.
Did Nick make it out of his moto?
Yeah. He transferred out of moto and he had 16th and didn't make it out of that. Or 16th or 8th and didn't make it out of that.
1720.
That class is insane.
Boys expert is ridiculous how big it is. Ridiculous. So Big Shane didn't race the Grands. He just announced, and then he headed home Sunday morning. So all the pros are done by this point. So it's just amateur titles, the girls cruiser, boys cruiser. And it was pretty exciting. Usually we left before semis and just watched it on the way home. Lily tried guilting us in, and we left. We were almost to the interstate. We almost went back.
Yeah. But it was really nice.
She told us, you guys suck.
It was really nice sleeping in our bed.
We got home before midnight Sunday night,
and we were back at work on Monday morning. Yeah, so sorry, Lily, adulting sucks. So yeah, that was our recap for November. So we made it through all the events. We've got one more event coming up with PRI and my favorite trade show.
It's the Performance Racing Industry Trade Show. We love to go to the breakfast. We never know who the speaker is. I mean, they've had NASCAR drivers. They've had Tony Stewart. They've had Andy Granatelli. My favorite one ever was Roger Penske, listening to him. So they always have somebody pretty amazing for the opening breakfast on Thursday, and we do the show Thursday, Friday. You're going to take in some seminars.
I do. I got 3 seminars on my schedule for Friday. I'm super excited about.
And then we come home.
We come home Friday night.
Then we go to a Christmas party on Saturday. But this weekend we're home. Parade. But this Saturday we have one of my favorite Christmas parties of the year. We don't really get invited to many Christmas parties. The only
Christmas party we went to
is the Rat Trap Racing Christmas party. Technocraft, the aluminum trailer cabinet people, are good friends. The Hopes over here, they do nitro nostalgia cars and land speed racing. It'll be a little different this year because this will be the first one since Dad, Grandpa, Ron Hope isn't with us anymore. But they're supposed to, depending on the weather, it's cold here now. And my heat won't work. I have trouble with my heat furnace right now.
All your furnace people.
But they're supposed to light and do cackle nitro cars on Saturday. So if you're in the area, Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, from like
10 to 2.
10 to 2 this
Saturday. And they're
Saturday.
doing
Hot Wheels races for kids and adults. We're going to set up our Hot Wheels track tomorrow night and test and tune and take our fastest Hot Wheels with us.
Yes.
So that's our Christmas stuff coming up.
And we this will probably be our last wrap up or our last review for the year.
So if you could all keep my dad in your thoughts, December 30th, he is supposed to be getting a new knee. He got a new pacemaker beginning of August to make his heart stronger so he can hopefully have no problems getting his new knee. He's in a lot of pain. He hurts himself because he's walking on crutches. He's fell, broke ribs, catching his crutch on the tractor steps. He's tore his rotator cuff, all that. So he really needs this knee done. And Carrie's mom is also having a surgery. So please keep our family in your thoughts between Christmas and New Year's. And hope everything goes good. And yeah, this will be our last recap. We got some great episodes yet coming out for the rest of the year.
Yep.
And
all right. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night, guys.
Hey, welders. Ready to upgrade your gear and save some serious dough in the process? The Miller Build with Blue Savings and Rebate Program has you covered. Find amazing deals and cashback rebates on a wide range of Miller products, from welders to plasma cutters and everything in between, all backed by our 3-year warranty. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take advantage of the Miller Build with Blue program now. Visit us online or stop by your nearest Miller distributor today to start saving.